What's up everybody, it's Truman here, and today we're kind of solving why I've been referencing the AMX 12T in some tweets. That's about the best reasoning I can come up with. Got back into War Tanks, been taking a big break from War Thunder. It's just been a lot of issues with War Thunder. But no, back to War Tanks. The AMX 12T. Just a little bit of strategy and review on it. If you're looking for a tank to get a lot of kills, look somewhere else. If you're looking for a tank to do a lot of scouting, go look somewhere else. You're somewhere in the middle ground with this tank. You don't have the gun to be dueling and getting a lot of kills, but you can do a lot of damage, but you don't have the view range and the radio range to do scouting, but you have the speed to do scouting. So you have to adjust your playstyle to this tank, and believe me, it is a big adjustment. Most of the time when you're playing this game, this tank, you're doing just what I'm doing. You're zipping around the map, 60 km an hour, wreaking some havoc, making people start turning turrets, turning hulls, trying to hit you while your team's firing at them. To quote it best from somebody in game that told me something about this tank, imagine it as the ankle-biting chihuahua that nobody likes. You know, you're there, they kind of look at you and go, okay, it's whatever. And then 6 shots later, where'd all my health go? So you're that annoying ankle-biting chihuahua. That's always a funny reference. But, I mean, you just zip around the map, you cause some issues, you zip away. But there is some planning you have to do with this tank. Well, I call it a tank, it's a go-kart with a gun strapped to it. There's some planning you have to do. You have to figure out, okay, I'm going to target this tank. What's my way in, and what's my way out? What's in my way on my way in and way out? And once I go into this run to hit them, what am I going to have to do to get the gun on target? Because, I don't know if this video shows it or not, you have almost no elevation and no gun depression at all. You and your target almost have to constantly be on flat, solid ground, or else you're not hitting them. Of course, you know, every 2.2 seconds you're pumping out 100 plus damage. You're going to do some damage to targets. So I just covered entry and escape on an attack run. And if you can get behind a lot of the big, I hate to say it, it sounds like the Mighty Jingles, get behind the big stupid heavy tanks, you got 6 rounds. Yeah, they're 75mm. Put those 6 rounds in the engine deck. There's a good chance you're going to light them on fire. Admittedly, you'll see, I think in the next video, however, that mindset doesn't always work. Because, well, you'll see in the next part of the video. And by next part, I mean next replay. And speaking of replays, let me digress here for a moment. Speaking of replays, you can go over to War Tanks replays and upload your replays and then send me an email submitting them. And I'll review them like this. And watch this. Can anybody see this scrub-a-dub error that I've made? You'll see it, the scrub error. I sit there. And I'm going to tell you why that's an error. Speed is life in this tank. You have no armor. At max, I think you have 50mm. And that's that extremely long frontal slope. Or to be more correct, I think what would be the upper glacis of the tank. I think that's about 50mm. Which is my next point. You know, you gotta stay moving in this tank. Yet, it's not one that you just sit still. You can't do that. Because you sit still, you die. Artie loves to beat this thing to death. Because you have a piece of sheet metal bolted to the top of you. You don't have anything on top. There's no armor. It's not like the AT-7s where you can just roll around and do whatever. No, you don't have any armor to mitigate high explosive. I'm pretty sure tier 1s could pin this thing. But in the event you do have to stop, you need to learn the difference between concealment and cover. Concealment, you can see them, they can't see you. But when they do see you, they can hit you. Cover, you may or may not be able to see them. Well, if you're spotted within 50 meters, they'd be able to see you. But in an ideal world, they wouldn't be able to see you. But they can't hit you either. This rock, this big mountain, cover. That bush, concealment. That'll save a lot of people heartache in War of Tanks and War Thunder for that instance. You want to, like I said, heavies, casemate tank destroyers, just get behind them, circle them. You're their worst nightmare because their turrets don't traverse fast enough. If they start traversing their turret, the aim time is so horrendous on their guns that they'll never hit you. If they're a casemate tank destroyer, they'll never truly be able to get their gun on you unless you sit there. Two things you do have to look out for: other medium and light tanks. Most medium tanks at this tier do have the engine power to chase you. Most light tanks have the engine power to chase you. So you've got to stay away from the mediums and the lights. And just go, like I said, circle the big dumb heavy tanks. Circle the casemate tank destroyers, like you're getting ready to see. And earlier I mentioned you'd see that sometimes putting 7 rounds into an engine deck doesn't set the engine on fire. Watch. Backside of a Otiah 88. Nothing. There's 7 rounds into his engine. No fire. No engine damage even. Time to disappear. I've well overstayed my welcome. It is time to get out of Dodge. And use the small form factor of this tank and go into the ravine. And right there, I kind of violated one of the rules of driving this tank, and kind of didn't. If you're going to attack a tank, you usually try to single out that tank. You know, you try to pounce on lone tanks that don't have any friends around. But by all means, if you're going to sit up there and show me the big fat ass of your tank, I'm going to come back around and I'm going to start pumping 75mm into it. And if you don't learn your lesson in this game, you might learn eventually. There is a skill to get used to in this tank, where if it's not like this kind of map, if it's a flat map, just kind of let your game go a couple minutes before you really start moving around. That gives your team time to kind of set up a front line. That gives the enemy that time to give that initial push, which then the front lines will kind of settle out. Then when you see an opening in that front line, use it, exploit it. You know, do the cavalry thing. But before you go towards that line, I suggest getting back behind your tanks and getting a good run towards that opening. So once you go past your tanks, you're already doing 50, 60 kilometers an hour. You're at your max speed. And what's going to happen when you break through your line and going towards the enemy front line? All the enemy turrets are going to start swinging towards you. Why? Because you have no armor. You're an easy kill, or so they think. In this ELC up here, shout out to him. He did play a good game and kind of pinned that corner down. But he spotted me coming up here. And I didn't have 6th sense at the time on this tank, but he spotted me coming up here. And he could have easily just zipped down the mountain and back up around with that 90mm gun, and he probably could have one-shot me right now. But instead, he kept hoping that his 4-skill crew and camo net would keep him out of trouble. Well, surprise, it's me! That's what relying on your camouflage does. Doesn't help you very much. And then the Chi-Ri or the Chi-Ha, I can't remember which one it is, was complaining about the ELC. Well, it's because you sat across the map and got in a gunnery duel with him. Yeah, he's got a bad gun, or he's got an inaccurate gun, but when he's just sitting there and you're moving, he's going to hit you every time. Oh, Artie. Oh, if I only had one more round. Or rammed him. Should have rammed him. Actually, that probably wouldn't have worked. I think he weighs 40 more tons than me. Ramming probably wouldn't have worked. Actually, I think that ELC was the same one in the beginning that was griping about he couldn't pin one of the tanks with his 90mm gun. Somebody told him he needed to load gold ammo. And this IS-3 fought a good game as well. The numbers advantage just got him though. And here you see about circling the big heavy tanks. As you go, actually I'm going in reverse. I'm circling him in reverse, so his gun will catch me. And where that round wins, I don't know. And I know I'm not going to pin the front of him, but I keep hoping to catch a track. And in game, I didn't have the camera turned around facing him. I put it in free cam for the replay purpose, and that critical hit was his track. Yeah, he got me, but the T-25, the Ag Tiger 88, they're gonna get him. I mean, like I said, he fought a ferocious game. Just numbers. The numbers advantage got him. And the bad accuracy of that Russian gun. That bad accuracy. And the other thing, going back to the tactic of letting the line settle and jumping back and forth through your line and theirs, the jack in the box tactic, I like to call that, or a lot of people call that jack in the box. And yes, I know this isn't the AMX 12T, it's the 1375. This is kind of a preview of what you get after the 12T. You still have the same two guns, and just because you're a tier higher doesn't mean the guns get buffed any. They're the same damage, same penetration. I think they reload just a little bit quicker. But that's about it out of those guns. You have, at least with the stock engine, and instantly your max speed is 61 kilometer an hour with the stock engine. Unlike the 12T, which I think I know your top speed with the upgraded engine was 60. But this one, your stock engine is 61. I know a lot of people were complaining about the guns, and I mean, they're autoloader guns, but I mean, yeah, you're a tier higher, so you're guaranteed to probably start seeing tier 10s. Because I know I was seeing tier 10s in the 12T. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt for these guns to be, buff them 20, 30, I'd say 20, 30 more millimeter penetration, but even 10 more. In this SU-100Y, I don't know where he thought he was going or what he was going to do. And actually, I had the SU-100Y. I won it when they were doing some missions for it. Sold it. That's actually how I got this thing. But I digress. I try not to keep premium tanks anymore because they're not that big a bonus to me because I don't play it enough. But just as a little bit of a preview, you see the 1375 isn't a bad tank. Do get shotgun by artillery. I was really not liking that. But anyway, it's kind of been a review and strategy for the AMX 12T and kind of review and strategy for the AMX 1375. Hope you all enjoyed the kind of review strategy series. I'm going to try to do more of these on what few tanks I have. Like I said, hope you all enjoyed them,